offering words of wisdom. So I'm going to give you the first little bit of wisdom here. I am drinking Pu'er tea, P-U-E-H-R. No, wait, E-R-H? I can't help you there. You'll figure it out if you try to Google it. Anyways, this tea is very, very good for you, and it is made out of 500-year-old fermented leaves off of these trees in China. Like, the trees are 500 years old, so not the leaves. That would make it quite pricey. And it's not pricey. It's a really good deal. I bought 100 packets of it for $10 on Amazon. Good deal. Anyways, not the topic. We're talking about offering words to people. But seriously, Google this tea and check it out. So when we offer good words, I'm talking this time behind people's backs, essentially, is what we're talking about. So there's a lot of people who talk a lot about other people. They might even make fun of them while that person is there. Like, there's a lot of bullies currently in this world. But what that shows you is who those people are. It's not saying anything about the person that they are bullying, and it is saying everything about the person who's doing the bullying. 100% of it is about the person who's doing the bullying. So I don't know if you've ever been witness to this. I'm assuming you have, because you're a human. But if you've been witness to this bullying and then you found yourself joining in and participating. Now, this happens because people don't want to, be left out, right? Everyone wants to be part of the crowd, and they want to be, you know what? I don't want to be part of the crowd. I want to be the opposite, because they're not doing what is correct. They're not doing what is right. But you can learn so much about people if you just sit and you just observe. You can learn everything, all their insecurities. You can learn all the things that they think about themselves by how they treat and talk to other people, by how they behave about other people. So what this shows you when somebody is doing that is what they're showing you is their pain. They're showing you the pain that they have inside. They're showing you all their unhealed wounds. If somebody's bullying, they were probably bullied, and now they're trying to get their revenge. Or, whatever it happens to be, they're showing you their pain. So now let's imagine here that one of these people, a typical bully, has now had it come back to roost, because this is the law of the universe. This is how it works. So it does come back. You cannot escape it. And you'll know, because it's going to happen to you someday, and you're going to be like, oh man, this feels awful. And that is you getting back what you did to somebody else. And so when that happens, take it as a lesson of, ooh, I'm immediately going to stop doing that. You know what? I had a friend back in the day, and she still a friend, but I just don't really talk to her anymore. And so this is about 20 years ago that I met her. And this town that I moved into was a very gossipy town. Maybe they're all like that. I had just never participated in this in my life. Like, I had never been exposed to gossip until I was like 20. Interesting, isn't it? And so I go to this town, and this girl who I had made friends with, oh man, she just talked about everybody. She wanted to talk about, that's all she did was talk about other people I didn't know. And I'd be like, I don't even know this person. Like, why are we talking about this? Like, I didn't like it back then. I didn't understand it. And it just kind of makes me feel like I want to throw up. So I had this friend who I was talking about, and she used to gossip. And then she said, oh, I don't do that anymore. I got in trouble once. I, said something to the wrong person, and they told whoever, and I don't say anything about anybody anymore. And she didn't. She doesn't. Because she had it come back to roost and learned her lesson early. She was probably about 30 when she learned her lesson, which is pretty sweet. So that's not necessarily the topic here today, but it has something to do with it. If you think about the people that you know in your life, everybody goes through different seasons, right? Everyone goes through a different season. And sometimes they're in their summer season, sometimes they're in their winter season. It really depends. And if you haven't experienced this yet, you will. You'll go through different seasons. That some of the seasons you're planting seeds. What am I going to be harvesting here next? What do I want to do? And you're growing things. In other seasons, those seeds are just laying there dormant, and they're growing, and you're nurturing them, but you're not maybe seeing the fruition of them. And then there's the seasons where they do come to fruition, and you're harvesting, and life feels great and wonderful. And then the end of that season comes, and it's time to start over again. But what can take somebody down into a winter season that lasts for what can feel like an eternity, even if it's just a few days? When you're in a low vibe state that it feels like it's lasting forever, it seems, for me anyways. But we can get into these winters. So I was in a winter after I found out that I had been betrayed, and my whole marriage was a sham, and all of these things, and that my life as I knew it was over. I went into a winter season. I didn't want to go out. I'm a very social person, not so social that I want to go out every day. Maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a week, maybe. But I retreated from that. The only social event that I did was to go to the grocery store. And even that, I did as little as possible, because I didn't want to run into anybody that I knew. I didn't want to have to explain to them that my husband was a cheater, and that what I thought I had, I didn't have. I was embarrassed. I was stressed out. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. And I was in this winter period. And nobody knew. Nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell, my very, very closest friends knew about this, because I needed somebody to talk to. But acquaintances, this and that, nobody knew. So when I would go out, because I was basically on the verge of tears for 6 months, when I would go out to the grocery store, I remember just, kind of avoiding eye contact. If you know me, that's not the type of person I am. I didn't want to look at anybody. I didn't want anybody to see me and come up and ask how I was doing. I didn't want anything like that, or I would have ended up breaking down in the grocery store. Like, I could barely manage to leave my house, go and get what I needed to without crying and coming back, because even just being out in the public reminded me, all these people had this perception, and that it wasn't right. But you know what? I had the same freaking perception that also wasn't right. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it that the life that I thought I had, I didn't have. So I go into this winter period. So through that, I became very understanding that, I wonder how many people I have run into when I was out and about who were also going through something similar to that, and I had no idea. I had no idea. You might come across somebody, and maybe somebody's mean to you, or maybe this, or maybe that, or maybe something happens. You don't know what's going on in that person's life. They might be in their deepest, darkest winter, but they've got to go out in public, and they've got to go and do this, and they've got to go and do that, and keep life moving on. We don't know. We don't know, because people don't tell us, right? People tell me things in sessions, and coming to talk to me, and they tell me these things that they have never told anybody else before. And why? Because we don't talk about it. We don't tell people our deepest, darkest things. It's none of their business. We're ashamed, or we're embarrassed, or we're whatever. We don't want to talk about it. And so there's all these wounded people walking around and nobody's talking about it. And so we don't know. And so people cast the same judgments that they do on people in their winter as they would on people who are in their summer. So what I'm talking about here is, let's say that you have a good friend and that good friend hasn't been wanting to come out. You know, they aren't wanting to do anything. They aren't whatever. They're not acting themselves. Now, you have two options. Are you actually their friend? Do you actually love them? Because if you do, then what you would be doing is offering good, kind words when you go out and your friend's not with you or whatever. You'd say, oh, no, they're doing good. You can speak positive things. Yes, they just don't feel like going out. They whatever, who knows? Maybe they're, whatever. You can just say good, kind, positive things about this person. If somebody asks, where are they? What's going on? Whatever. You just say only the good. Or you have another option. You can complain and be like, yeah, no, they don't want to come out anymore. Yeah, I don't know what their problem is. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm talking about. People do that. And when people do that, other people jump on board. Other people jump on board. But I want you to know that there is something wrong with somebody. Very wrong with somebody when they bully people and they talk bad about other people and they call names and they cut them down. There's something very wrong with that person or those people, because they're not in alignment. They're the farthest thing from divine that could exist. When you're putting out a frequency that is the opposite of love, you're as far away as it gets. So here's the thing. If you can offer up goodness when someone is not there, talking good about somebody, defending someone who's not there, then you win. Why? Because when your season of winter comes around, and it will at some point, if it hasn't already, and if it has, then we probably don't need to be having this talk because you have already developed a lot of compassion. But when your winter season comes around, then you can expect the same from the people who you have also defended. Now, people think that they can get away with talking bad about somebody and think that that person won't know. But here's the thing. We all, every single one of us, have telepathy. Lots of it is obscured and blocked by our own ego. And so people, aren't necessarily able to tune in and get direct messages about things. But they still, even if they're sleeping, can get feelings about things. So if you've ever run into somebody and then that person's kind of acting awkward, like, not making eye contact, not, they're just acting a little weird, and you wonder, I feel like that person was just talking about me. You're right. So people do know, they can pick up on it. So here's what you can do. Only speak good. This way, when people come into contact with you, you have nothing to feel bad or ashamed about. You can fully be there and meet them and be there in their presence. And they're going to be received well by you. They're going to feel your genuine caring nature. And they're going to know that they can trust you. They're going to know that they can trust you. Now, what happens when we offer up these good words? You know, we can even offer up good prayers. But when we offer up these good words, what we are doing is we are gift giving. We're giving gifts to this person. So think about somebody right now. I'll give you like a few seconds here. Think about somebody that you really like or care about in your life, that maybe is struggling with something and that you know could use some extra love or care, and just hold them in your heart right now. I want you to think about them, and I want you to imagine pouring beautiful, heavenly, divine, loving light, so like a brilliant, beautiful white light, just resting, falling down on this person, embracing this person, holding this person, and just sending them so much happiness, joy, and goodness that you have in your heart, and just sending it to that person. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds here to just do that right now. Okay. Now notice how you feel. You feel pretty good, don't you? So when we do this for other people, we're also benefiting ourselves, because think about how you feel right now. But what you've really done is you've actually affected this person's energy field. So if you do this a ton, if you do this for them regularly, there will be a noted difference. They will be able to feel it. They will know. So you really can help people in this way. But, you know, everyone has to do their own work. We can't fix or heal other people, but we can 1,000,000,000,000% support them and love them. That's all people need. They just need to be supported, and they need to be loved. And if you're in an environment where you are not supported and you are not loved, you need to leave immediately. Yes, you. So when we do this for people, when we give them love, it is surely received. Now, here is the best part. You don't just receive this karma back now because you feel good, right? Because you feel good because you gave to this person. It will come back to you again at a later time. And here's the benefit of it. All that you did was have a thought. All that you did was have a good and loving thought for somebody else, towards somebody else, wanting good, wanting someone else to also feel loved. What a gift that is. And that shall be returned to you later on. At some point when you need it, it will come back. But what happens when we hop on the train of negative words about other people? We feel sick, right? It actually makes us sick. And if you don't feel sick, kind of like you want to throw up after you've sat around and listened to a bunch of people talk bad and maybe participated in it, you may actually get sick. And then you'll get sick and you'll be like, oh, I don't know why I'm sick. That's why. That's why, because you were spreading the mental sickness throughout the fabric of the reality that you're living in. And you can't spread sickness and not get sick. You can't. So as we're creating heaven here, creating an era of peace and love, creating heaven here on earth through our every loving thought, it's simple. It's simple. You know, the whole do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's that. It's the basic principle of that. Do you want someone to get revenge on you if you did something that hurt them? No, probably not. You'd probably like them to forgive you. Well, then I guess you're going to have to not get revenge, and you're going to have to forgive that person. Now, I'm telling you this from experience of going out and getting revenge, and there's no satisfaction in it. It is temporary, and the only thing that comes back to you after that is this feeling of like, oh, that just is bad on me. That just is bad on me. That makes me bad. That doesn't get revenge. That didn't do anything. That just caused more hurt and pain. You know, we think that revenge seems like a good thing, and we can get so wrapped up in it that it becomes all consuming, and it steals away our heaven. It steals away our joy and our happiness. And then what? What are you left with? Nothing. You're left with the ruins of what you just did. Now I know that life is hard, that we go through things and we have to learn. But if you're listening to this, you're listening because you've heard truth in what it is that I'm saying. You've seen these things happen in your own life. You're like, ooh, I did this and then this happened, or I was thinking about this and then this happened, and you're seeing, you're aware, you're waking up to the fact that all of this is true, and that what you put out, you certainly do get back. So think about the nicest person that you've ever met. If you met somebody that was just super nice, good, sweet, kind-hearted person. You know, when I think of that, I think of that guy on Survivor. I think he was a Buddhist maybe, but he was just, I can't remember his name now, but he was just the kindest, kind-hearted man. And I remember that, you know, they were going to eat these chickens, but he'd made friends with these chickens and he didn't want to kill them. And I'm like, dude, I get it. You're like the best person around. He just had such a good, wonderful, kind heart. Another person that comes to mind was my mom's best friend. She passed away, I think, when she was 37, so I was a young kid, but I just remember she was just so kind. She just had such a good heart. She would go out, you know, I'm from Canada, and she would go and she would scrape people's windshields in the morning, you know, because if you're from Canada, then you know this, and if you're not, your windshield overnight, if it rains or if it snows and it's really cold, depending on the temperature, you could have an inch of ice on your windshield. You know, you could have a ton of ice on your windshield that you got to scrape off or clear off or whatever in the morning, and it's a total pain. And she would wake up and she would just go do this for her neighbors on the street. Like, what? What kind of a wonderful woman was she? Amazing. And those people, those kind people, those are the people that you remember and you think, oh, I just love that person. And everybody just loves that person. Why? Because they're attracting it to themselves by only emanating love. And so if that's not you, don't you want to be that? Would that, you know, really kind person, would they call other people names behind their back? No. Would they talk bad about people? No. What kind of words would that person offer? Kind ones, encouragement, motivation if it was needed. They're speaking from their heart. They're giving goodness out into the world. So whatever season you're going through, if it's winter, I love you, you're going to get through it, and I can help you. If you've been in winter for too long, so I'm saying, let's say more than 6 months, if this has been something like, if this has been going on for years, you need help. You need somebody to help you out of it. I can help you get somebody to help you out of it. But if it's not been that long, And you know why. If you know why, then you're going to get through it. You're going to heal. It's just going to take time. But if you feel horrible and you don't know why, then you need some subconscious healing so that you can figure out why, so that you can heal and that you can let it go and move on into your summer. But what message I really want to get across here is that the words that you're speaking about other people when they're not there, or when they're there, but when they're not there, are so important. And I'm not encouraging anyone to talk about anybody when they're not there. But humans do this. They're addicted to it. They can't help themselves. So shift the narrative. That when somebody starts talking bad about somebody else, not only do you not participate, but that you defend them. You just say one thing that defends this person and that is positive. You just say something that you would want said for you if the situation or the role was reversed. And as you do this, know that you are being a blessing to that person. You're giving them a wonderful gift. And know that it is received and that it shall be returned to you. So I'm just going to speak the divine word here. So this is for anybody who happens to be tuning in. I'm just going to speak whatever it is that you all need to hear today. Whichever way is best for you is you'll see opportunities flowing. If you don't see opportunities flowing towards you, it is because there has been some kind of mental block. It involves your heart, the space around your heart. There's been pain and suffering that has blocked this heart, and it has created a lot of distance, distancing yourself from other people, and it's created a feeling of wanting togetherness, but not being sure how to receive that into your life. Blocking your heart blocks the passionate pursuits that are meant for you. Blocking your heart means taking on other people's energies that are not in alignment with your own. Because the heart space has intelligence and knowledge, and it can filter through things and transmute them as they are coming to you when you are operating out of an openness in your heart space. It changes how information is received and responded to. Having an open heart space is incredibly important, even though we can associate the heart with painful endings and disappointments. The heart guides in a proper way. Learning to listen to the heart, not the feelings, changes things. Tune into your heart space right now, if you haven't already. And I want you to notice that as you tune into your heart space, you notice your heart and that it extends out of your body. If you were to tune into that space, it's actually the energy outside of, maybe a foot in front of you or so, around that left side of your upper chest. And as you tune into that space, if there's any cloudy energy that's in there, this will be just whatever comes into your mind, it's time to clear that away. It's time to transmute it into love and into light so you can be a beacon of truth and live a peaceful existence from a loving, gift-giving place, giving the gift of love to others. This can appear as kindness, generosity, or what you would think of as classical love. And as you tune into that heart space, now imagine that brilliant white light that we worked with earlier filling that heart space and clearing away, transmuting any of the cloudy or negative energies that were previously there or that are presently there. And allow that white light to remove any of that clouding and that dusty look and replace it with brilliant, beautiful, bright white light. And breathe into this space. Just imagine you can breathe into your heart space. And as you breathe into it, expand it. Make it stretch out even farther from your body. And then put a little smile on your lips. And I want you to imagine we're going to practice sending this beautiful love to all of the people that come to mind that you feel like you want to send it to. So do that right now. Excellent. Then you're just going to put a little smile on your lips. And you're going to start to blink your eyes back open, back into the room. Excellent. So what a wonderful little short practice that you can do. And I know that it can be perhaps scary or intimidating living from that space. Perhaps you don't even quite understand what that really means yet. But if you just keep practicing this is what it means, living in a heart-centered way. So thank you guys for joining me today. This goes along with a blog post that I wrote that you can check out on my website, which of course will be listed below. I'm going to be having some retreats coming up, so if you're interested in that, you can find my email address on my website and get a hold of me and let me know that you would like to get some more information about that. I love y'all, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.